Hey friends, today we're going to explore the flies. What kind of flies that we want to do on a cable machine, whether it's a high pec fly, a low pec fly, or a normal pec fly. These are going to address our three main fibers of our chest, which are in this case the low muscle fibers, which are called our costal fibers. We have the sternal fibers that come in the middle, and at the very top we have the clavicular fibers. So let's go ahead and adjust the machine to address those three exercises. And in other videos you can really just do the single exercise on its own, so that you can work on your form and perfect the movement so that you can really feel the burn in each individual sections of the chest. Now, we're going to start today with our sternal fibers. Now, we want to set up the cable to have more or less our shoulder height. So for me, this is going to be about this size. And today I'm going to use fat grips on the handles. The fat grips are just going to allow me to use more of my chest and upper back rather than give me the cue to grip harder on the hands. If you definitely are someone that feels the forearms a lot, or tends to really squeeze the hands till they lose tension or feeling in your hand, then go ahead and use these fat grips, which are in the description below. So let's go ahead and set up our weight. So in this case, we want to start out always at a warm-up weight on the first set. We're going to go ahead and take a step forwards, and we're going to make sure that you always keep the hands somewhere in front when you walk forwards. You never want to start stepping and get those hands behind you to then push forwards, because that's going to create a lot of strain on the shoulder, especially as it gets heavy. We don't want that unnecessary risk. So once again, we're taking a step forwards, chin tucked in, 1 foot forwards. We're going to work on a scooping motion. So what I mean by a scoop, you're going to pretend like you have a big ball in front of you, and the goal here is to push your biceps into your body and reach a certain width that allows you to feel your chest but not lose your upper back tension. So in this case, for me, this would be too far forwards. I would need to stop here to create an open chest and feel tension in the chest. Now, of course, that's going to work more of the outer fibers around here. If I want to get to the middle fibers, it requires me to train a little bit more frequently so that I can move my hands forwards without rounding the shoulders. Again, keeping the shoulders back will allow me to create stability in the shoulder, and eventually doing crossovers where I can then feel those middle fibers turn on. And again, it is not about you pushing the limit to always feel this chest fiber in the middle that you want to build, but to feel tension in your upper back while doing the chest exercise. And that's going to make sure that we're not compensating through instability of the shoulder, creating bad posture and rounded spine, but keeping our upper back open and the ability to use our chest. We want that to be preserved so that when we're sitting at a desk, we can use the chest for movements with the hands, but we don't start to overcompensate and start to still use our chest, but then create synergies with our neck. So that's what we call the sternal fibers. Again, working the scoops, pushing into the arms, into the ribs. The weight distribution is really a matter of preference. I personally, when I go light, like to lean forwards to keep my abdominals tight. That's the most important, is that your abdominals are tight. So if you don't feel your abs, you might want to consider lifting off the back foot, your back heel specifically, and keep the toes on so that you can work on the fly motion without feeling like you are losing the control of the motion. And keeping your knee out, or at least in line with your hip, will allow us to simply make sure that our stability at the hips is controlled. So we're going to move on to the next one, which is going to be our high fibers. We're going to move to about head height. And once we're at head height, these are smaller fibers, so you might want to adjust the weight accordingly. And we're going to start out still with our hands to our sides, but at head height. And once we're at the head height, we're going to push downwards, come back wide, and push down. The same concept applies here, where we want to stop before we feel the loss of tension in our shoulders and our upper back, but the ability to keep that tension and feel a squeeze at the chest. And notice my thumbs reaching downwards as I push forwards. It does require a lot of stability in the shoulder blades. So if you do not have that stability, go ahead and work on it a little bit before, previously, or in superset, working on these kinds of exercises here, which are great for us. Now, of course, the inferior trap is the one that is needed the most for that shoulder stability. So again, by doing some pre-activation exercises, or by doing a different exercise for the upper chest if you do not have that stability completely set up for yourself. Now again, that nice V-shaped motion needs to be always in control. Shoulders are back, pop the chest, and keep that weight. Again, on the front leg, if you do not feel your abs, you can keep both feet flat and make sure that you breathe out as you bring those arms in, finding the abdominal tension. The third exercise we're going to explore now is the low pec fly, or in this case, the costal fibers of the chest. So we're going to bring this to about, not completely the ground, but about, let's say, 1 foot off the ground, more or less right below your knee. And the reason why is the angle of your hands is going to be at about, or your arms are going to be about 45 degrees, maybe 30 degrees, depending on how wide your frame is. And that's going to allow us to recruit our chest. If they're too low, we're always going to be dragged down, and we're going to feel more our biceps in the motion, since we'll be wanting to pull upwards rather than inwards. So you're going to grab those handles, again, adjust the weight. These are harder exercises, or harder due to the fact that they're smaller fibers compared to your, in the beginning of the exercise video, we talked about the sternal fibers and middle fibers. So again, take a step forwards, keep the hands to the sides. In this case, you do want to start slightly behind you to keep our chin tucked in. We're going to bring the hands forwards and back wide. And again, I'm not going all the way up because of that upper back tension that I'm going to lose if I go too high, but also I want to feel my chest working hard as I push the arms or the biceps into my body. And that's where you're going to feel the low pecs start to work. Adjust the weight, adjust how high you go to really feel this sandwich between the arm and the costal fibers, or in this case, your ribs, to feel, again, that lower part of the chest start to turn on as you scoop in. So again, it's not about how high you go, it's about how much force you can apply inwards, and make sure your palms are up as you do that. So thanks for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you like this video. Make a big like for me if you want to see more of this kind of content. Exploring the cables is a great way to really build synergies in the right direction, whether it's your upper back, your chest, but also working on leg exercises to isolate certain muscles such as your glute medius or minimus, So check out all the other videos on the cables, and to no further ado, see you in the next one.